she wants a young American. It's all right, she wants a young American. I have more than one story, I think, but my Bowie story is more about me than about Bowie. Okay. But I'll tell you, my first contact with Bowie at all was early 1972. I saw an advertisement in Melody Maker with a cartoonish figure of Bowie, like the Starman. And I was 15 years old at the time, and I was very much into Alice Cooper. And I thought, oh, this guy looks cool, I have to check this out. And later I heard Suffragette City on the radio. I immediately went and bought the album, a really good rocker. And I followed him through the Ziggy album and the Aladdin Sane album, and then I lost touch. And that was because of Bowie. Because at that time, Bowie had pointed out Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground to me, and I was deep into Lou Reed and Velvet Underground, and I kind of lost touch with David Bowie. But then again in 1977, when just before I was 20, at the start of the year, I went into a record shop and I heard this song with this blasting snare drum. And I think, what is this? This is totally new, this is totally different. And of course it was low, and it was just coming out that same day. And I immediately bought it, played it day in and day out, and then I went back and bought all the albums I had missed out, and I became a real fanatic.
Excellent, thank you.
So my first time seeing him was the first time he played Oslo, my hometown, and that was June the 5th, 1978. I was first in line when the tickets were sold, but I still couldn't get tickets on the first row. I had to go for the third row, but I was happy about that. I remember the show was late, and we stood outside the doors. This was a sports hall, and the band was rehearsing. And I was listening through the doors, and I think, that's not the band. It has to be a record because it's so good. They play so good. But then the doors opened, and I remember we entering. They were playing over the PA system, No Pussyfooting by Brian Eno and Robert Fripp. And I knew that record, and I think, ooh, this is cool. This is so cool. And of course, when the show started, the band came on stage, and Carlos Alomar, he was a conductor in a classical fashion, because those shows always started with the song Warszawa. And so he stood there, and I thought, oh, this is so serious, this is so artful, this is so good taste, this is everything I'm looking for. And I think to this day, actually, the show is probably the best I've ever seen. I have to admit it, yes.
Was it seated, the audience?
Yes, it was all seated, and a very disciplined audience. Bowie wasn't a very big commercial figure at the time, so there were only 7,000 people there, and I think we who were there, we thought of ourselves as pretty hip, pretty, cool and into modern things. So at that time, being a Bowie fan was being very cool, alternative. We were even a step above the punks, They were kind of low life, but we were kind of arty and still very revolutionary. So that's my story. I don't know if I should tell you anymore because I reached my limits, but that's actually the way it goes.
Thank you, Carl. You're a good storyteller.
Thank you.
It's all right. She wants the